Okay, fine. We'll stop making videos straight up about individual players on Team Canada. From McKinnon to McDavid to maybe even Makar. All the Micks and the Macs and the... Okay, no. Macklin Celebrini, you're good. Sorry. But I wanted to talk about this Canadian squad one more time on the eve of the NHL's return to action. Once all these players end up returning to their teams, of course, and dive into some narratives, some ideas, some thoughts about the Canadian body of hockey that we have seen, and what exactly went wrong with the Canadian squad this year. Now, Lego, what went wrong is that y'all lost. Yeah, of course, they lost. They got silver. USA won. Congrats. But we have to dive into what happened to the Canadian powerhouse that was, and what led to this inevitable defeat. Here's a tweet by Jari the Hutt on Twitter that I thought was pretty insightful and opens the door to a pretty cool conversation. Let's be honest. Canada did not lose because overtime was 3-on-3. Canada lost, in large part, to the best of their best. Makar, McKinnon, failing at the biggest moments. Makar and Devon Toews let Matt Boldy go on an afternoon stroll in the park right past them. Nathan McKinnon flubbed a shot on a gaping net. Makar gambles on the pinch in overtime. And I'm still not sure what McKinnon thought he was doing on Marinsky. Then McKinnon's audacity to whine in his post-game comments, shameful stuff, and a very underwhelming performance by Makar in the tournament. Thank you. Now, here's the thing about that. You can say that, alright, well, this tweet had 500,000 views, 4,000 likes, and people are going out there and just kind of rebuttaling a little bit. We had seen the full McKinnon quote in the video we made earlier today. Who was the only person to score for Canada? Oh, right, it was Makar. This is the problem with Canada fans. So ready to celebrate the players as gods, but when they fall short, hang them out to dry faster than you can say Putin. He was glaring in both goals against. You gotta score more than you give up, son. They probably would have won if you were out there on the ice. And, okay, that is absolutely not the way I think we are going to talk about it here. And by the way, this is not Yari Curry, I'm pretty sure. Anyways, Makar was a big part of this game, and we did say in the video the other day that, yeah, Makar and Devon Toews' terrible work on the Matt Boldy goal, Makar not able to swat the puck away from Jack Hughes, which allowed that odd man rush and inevitable Jack Hughes game winner in overtime to even being scored. Makar didn't have the best tourney in regards to the way everything ended. Now, I say that fully knowing that Kale was still able to produce a decent amount of points in the tournament. He had 6 points in 6 games, was named to the All-Star team as well. Of course, on top of getting that silver medal, All-Star team, by the way, just in case you needed the scoop for this Olympic Games, you had Slavkovsky, Celebrini, Connor Hellebuck, Quinn Hughes, Makar, and Connor McDavid. Really interesting list of guys over here, and of course, it's nice to see Slavkovsky get it twice. Anyways, here is another tweet made by JFresh. Immediate lessons learned for Team Canada after this gold medal game. Number 1. The tournament mostly went very well. You don't need to totally rethink. Number 2. Defensemen, puck moving, and finishing need to be more of a priority over puck carrying. Number 3. Maybe more of a premium on finishing for non-star forward picks. I'd add proper ice time through the lineup. Hard to blame finishing on forwards playing below 10 minutes. Only 4 forwards had more than 15 minutes of time on ice. This entire team was elite. It seems like Cooper was determined to get it done with the big guns. But then JFresh says this is a chicken and the egg scenario. Cooper didn't want to have to lean on 97, 17, and 29 that much, and he certainly didn't want them all on one line, but they were the only ones he could count on to get it done consistently. Hence, the analysis on premium finishing being a priority for the next Canadian squad. Speaking about the puck moving, the defensemen, and the names that were added onto the team, I did see a lot of flack being tossed out there for guys like Parayko, Sanheim, and Doughty. And while it is true, there are a number of Canadian guys that probably would have had a stronger impact than those names, I don't want to make it seem like those guys were the reason Canada lost, but more so part of the reason why Canada couldn't get as much offense as they probably would have wanted, especially once the tournament began. Not the round robin and the seeding, but the actual semis and the quarters and the actual finals themselves. Matthew Schaefer might have been able to do something. Same you could say about Jacob Chychrun. Anyways, scrolling down over here, another reply says, you gotta play your best goalie. Play your best goalie. Were they supposed to win that game 1-0? Tall order. Not gonna lie, they could have used Zach Hyman. Like, the Canadians made Kunitz an Olympian because he knew how to play with Crosby, but McDavid doesn't get his guy? Hyman is a greasy goal scorer, and those are the types of goals you need sometimes in elimination games. Yet another complimentary player who can't drive his own line? Jay Fresh asks. Sapster went out there and said this, maybe Hockey Canada will finally learn that the hardest thing to do in hockey is score, and stop bringing trees and veterans to fill out the lineup. McKenna, Schaefer, Bouchard, and Bedard better all be on the 2030 team. Enough of these intangibles and experience nonsense. Both of USA's goals were scored by offensive game breakers. Canada's goal was scored by an offensive game breaker. Both the men and the women's teams are plagued by archaic thinking at the very top, and the decision makers should be ashamed of themselves. Now, a few rebuttals to this. Firstly, the USA had their own situation where they were taking guys that were more veterans and intangibles like guys. We had just made a video about how JT Miller and Vinny Trocheck actually played decently well in the role they were given, and those guys played that role much better than probably a Caulfield or a DeBrincat or even a Jason Robertson could have. Now, for Canada, there are a number of guys that you say probably could have been on the team, but they weren't in favor of other names like a Sam Bennett or a Seth Jarvis or a Drew Doughty or whomever. And especially on the women's side, you can say that the women's team was constructed mostly thinking about the veterans instead of thinking about the youth, and that led to some controversial conversations as well. Here's a reply by Josh McLeod. If USA took Robertson over Nelson or Trocheck, do they win today? The 5-on-3 kill and all the huge in-zone faceoffs they won were critical. I agree they should have taken Schaefer, but you do still need role guys to be filled. The Canada power play today killed themselves more than anything. They missed grade A's, they failed to attack the middle in the 5-on-3, failure to even gain the zone with a clean pass. The USA stole the game indeed, but there were many instances, especially on the back end, where the Canadians just gave up possessions with muffins from the blue line because Parayko or Sanheim couldn't move their legs and help the cycle. I think Bedard should have been on the team, but his exclusion from the team irritates me less than Bouchard's or Schaefer's. And I think with the goal yesterday, the golden goal, it kind of puts into perspective the idea that, hey, it's not just Evan Bouchard that can make mistakes on the back end and cause these bad turnovers. Cale Makar is privy to him too. To end off this video, I wanted to show off one more tweet. This is from Nikhil, another guy who happens to be pretty good at the NHL video games like SAP. Canada lost its first best-on-best tournament in 20 years. The USA won their first best-on-best tournament in 30 years. The USA is now 1-4 against Canada in elimination games and best-on-best tourneys. There are levels to this. So with that in mind, we will see whether or not Team Canada can finally start updating the way they think about constructing these hockey teams and build a team that can actually win something next time instead of just riding on the Four Nations hype from a year ago. Okay, that was a best-on-best technically, but then again, it was Four Nations. Who cares? It wasn't even really a tournament. You had 4 teams. At least in the Olympics, you have 10. Thoughts in the comment section below about the Canadian team and their construction, the decisions, the names on the team, off the team, who was deserving, who was not, and what needs to change heading into the future here. Thoughts in the comment section below about Team Canada. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.